Tell them I'm hungry.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
We are making the virtual HBCU experience available wherever you live through Stillman Online. We offer online degrees in business, criminal justice, psychology, and religion. Stillman also offers technology badges in cybersecurity and data analytics. You can participate in all student activities, fraternities and sororities, internships, graduation ceremonies, and much more. Apply for admission today at stillman.edu. Stillman College, where we prepare you for a different world.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon'
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Man, Prairie View must have won for homecoming. Mike Washington got his Prairie View stuff on. So if you got the Jackson State stuff on, y'all must have beat y'all right. Yeah, boy, it must have been a good weekend for something.
Absolutely.
Wow. Man, y'all gonna do these people like that? Come on the show and just recommend. Y'all supposed to be talking about HBCU sports.
Yeah, we will eventually.
We will. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, welcome to episode 325 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. For institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. We simply call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, none other than multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in a beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, obviously, everybody last week was talking about College Game Day coming to Jackson, Mississippi, and it seems like it was full of success, not only in terms of attendance. Obviously, we had the Magic City Classic that did great numbers as well, which ended up being a classic game in terms of coming down to the wire. Not the same with Southern Jackson State, but we got numbers in. So if we can pull up those numbers that we got in regards to what's been going out there. And I thought this was some interesting notes that many people would be interested in. So let me just pull this up for a minute so we can give some updates in terms of what these numbers, that is week 9. College Game Day made its first trip to Jackson State University ahead of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and JSU Tigers football program rivalry game against Southern University, as they say, go Jags. 1.819 million viewers, 2.3 final hour viewers, which is where you really had Stephen A. Smith go to church. So go back, if you hadn't watched the show on Sunday, go back and check that out. We talk about taking you to church as we were still down there, Prairie View on the yard, closing up homecoming down there with Mike as he had a good time, as you can see. Game Day's best 9-week start since 2009, which is certainly a good thing in regards to continuing success that they had. This is courtesy of ESPN PR as they sent it out on Twitter. Mike, you were jumping in there and going to say something in terms of giving you a hard time?
Yeah, I had a good time. I'm the only one that had a good time. Let's go.
Hey, man. All I know, I was working. I put stuff out officially that showed that I was in the lab, whether I was in suite or pre-suite on Thursday, coming in there working the show, getting all the things up, or if it was post-Sunday for the show. I mean, you came in there having your cup in your hand. Charles come in late, so somebody has to be had an order of the day. I'm just saying, we're a team now. We brothers, we team. He's not here.
We're a team, all right. We teamed up.
Oh man, this is public television. We'll leave that right there. So Charles, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Dr. Bill. Despite it's a tremendous weekend. We'll talk about those numbers with ESPN Game Day. Just to put that in context, that final hour, I see that 2.3 million final hour viewers got an opportunity to see Jackson State's culture, HBCU's culture, the fervency of the fan base. I just excited to be in the midst of what we are watching with regards to this thing that we call the HBCU diaspora. It is phenomenal to watch.
No doubt. Mike, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I guess the other side to it, man, I'm thinking financial. I'm thinking, man, look, Charles McClellan, Dr. McClellan can go anywhere and say, look, we got the numbers.
Yeah.
This proves that we are a commodity, that that we're in demand. This proves it. Highest number since, in week 9 since 2009. Are you kidding me? So to me, that speaks volumes about the value asset of the SWAC and what its worth is today.
And this really takes it back and gives us a chance to go to the history and look at a little pioneer. As HBCU Sports said, HBCU Game, they had a great article written by Lute, where I got a chance to say a quotable statement in there. And so go check that out on HBCU Game Day, or check out the article on HBCU Sports. Both of them brilliant articles. HBCU Sports says long-term HBC media vanguard, Odeon file, Mr. Eric Moore passes. And so we got a chance to talk about that on Sunday before you got on, Charles. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I know you didn't want to put in the mix and go back and do that. But I wanted to give you a chance, and I'm sure I would be remiss if I didn't allow you to share some words. And then we'll move on with some of the weekly honors. But if you would, go ahead and go in whatever direction you want to go in terms of Mr. Eric Moore.
Sure. When I even looked at the byline to the story, HBC Media Vanguard, and that's definitively what Eric Moore was, Mr. Moore. Dr. Bill, I came to this show because of my thirst for looking for HBCU information, HBCU sports information. And Anadon for quite some time was my source for getting statistics or getting information and knowledge about what was going on in the CIAA, what was going on in the MEAC. Definitely looking back at the stats of the SWAC. So you're just so very appreciative of all the hard work that he put in with regards to getting that information out to the masses. And in so many ways, so many of these programs, our program included, stand on his shoulders. And you just appreciate it because you know that there is an HBCU audience that appreciates not only what we're doing, but the work that he put in to get us to this point. And now, we're sort of reaping the fruits of that labor. And it's really humbling.
Yeah, as I said, tributes to Eric Moore pour in courtesy commentary, Luke Williams, as he did on HBCU Game Day. So you'll see a lot of these tributary Black pro sports media, HBC pro sports media will put out some things, and we're working on a lasting type of legacy tribute that we will do. But I did want to give you that chance there. Let me stick with you in regards to, I think Mike was excited about this, so I'd be remiss if I didn't let Mike get to put out his chest a little bit. He made sure, again, that he put his Prairie View A&M paraphernalia on. So you do the SWAC football media honors, and I'll let Charles do the media.
Thank you, Doc. That's mighty awesomely nice of you. So SWAC football weekly honors in the year of our Lord 2022, October 31st. SWAC has named Prairie View A&M University's Trayvon Conley, quarterback. Alabama State's Colton Adams and Jaden John, along with FAMU's AJ Davis, as its SWAC football players of the week. Ask me why. Go ahead, ask me. Why, Big Mike? Why? Well, first of all, on offense, Conley led the Panthers to a comeback victory, 58-48 win over Bethune-Cookman on Saturday. He completed 18 of 24 passes for 221 yards. He also contributed 133 yards, I'd say in a quarter, and 4 rushing touchdowns. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 rushing touchdowns. Trayvon Conley, this man has put in his time, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, and he is really, really maturing over the course of the year. On the defense, of course, I'd be remiss to say that Mr. Adams, again, that's Alabama State's Colton Adams, had 15 tackles, highlighted by 7 solo tackles and 8 assisted stops. He also registered 1 tackle for loss, had 2 quarterback hurries, and helped halt 2 Alabama A&M key drives in the red zone. And then, of course, the specialist, Jaden John. So with a perfect 3 for 3 on extra point attempts, connected on a career-long 49-yard field goal attempt that gave Alabama State an early 3-0 lead in the first quarter during the Hornets game versus Alabama A&M this past Saturday. And then, of course, newcomer Davis rushed for 108 yards on 18 attempts during the Rattlers' 27-6 drudging over UAPB, also known as Arkansas Pine Bluff. My uncle would say the Pine Bluff. He became the first Rattler of the season to rush for 100-plus yards in the game. Davis was one of 4 players in the league to tally 100-plus yards rushing this past weekend during this past weekend of competition while averaging 6 yards per carry. 6 yards per carry. That's a hell of an afternoon. But hats off to all of the awardees for SWAC honors for the year our Lord 2022, the week of October 31st. Starting with Trayvon Condon.
Yeah, that rushing attack for Prairie View has been pretty nice. They put up 350 plus yards last week at Lamar, and then they come back and follow it with 340. They needed all of them this week to get.
They needed all of them, yeah,
to get ahead of Bethune-Cookman. But with that said, let me go over to you, Charles, and get into the MEAC football weekly honors.
Sure, let's get into the MEAC weekly honors. And before I do that, I want to say welcome to Jaguar Nation, to all of those who are checking in here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into the MEAC weekly honors. North Carolina Central quarterback Davis Richard and Howard University senior quarterback Quentin Williams were named the MEAC Football Co-Offensive Player of the Week, and Morgan State senior cornerback Javion Morton was named the Defensive Player of the Week, while Delaware State wide receiver Raheem Smith was named the Rookie of the Week. Let's take a look at Davis Richards' numbers. A 6'3", 215-pound junior. He amassed 349 yards of total offense, 3 touchdowns against Delaware State. He rushed for 77 yards, ending a run in the end zone. He also recorded 2 touchdowns through the air, including a late 25-yard score with 56 seconds left. Closing the day with 19 completions out of 27 attempts for 272 yards. Quentin Williams, 6'5", 200-pound senior, ended the day with 4 total touchdowns in a road victory against Norfolk State. He went 17 of 22 through the air, completing 3 touchdown passes. He also ran for an additional touchdown and accumulated 57 yards in total. Javion Morton, 5'9", 180-pound senior, ran an interception back for a defensive touchdown and accumulated 2 tackles and a pass breakup in the Morgan State Bears upset of South Carolina State, all part of a 24-point fourth quarter for Morgan State as the Bears forced 6 turnovers in the game. And finally, the freshman Smith, 5'9", 170 pounds, had 102 total offensive yards, 3 receptions for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns, and ran for an additional touchdown. Ended the day with 47 yards against North Carolina Central. For the game, he found the end zone 3 times. So those are your MEAC Players of the Week.
Nice. Did y'all hear that? Quentin Williams, Howard.
Yeah.
I give you that, Howard. 2-0 in conference in the MEAC, man. They got a big game.
2-0. But they got the toughest road. They got the toughest road ahead of them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He not even gonna let the people be. He not even gonna let people. Howard be happy right now. He got
yeah, buddy.
Man, get out of here. I'm gonna go to the Big South Player of the Week. North Carolina A&T running back Marcel Tootin has been named the Big South Football Offensive Player of the Week. Check this out. Tootin rushed for 30 times for a career high 256 yards and 2 touchdowns, and leading the Aggies to a 45-38 comeback victory over Campbell as they were down like 28-10 halftime. It was the second most rushing yards in the conference game, 3rd highest overall single game rushing total in the Big South history. Tootin's 42-yard touchdown run in the first quarter gave A&T his first points of the day, while his 70-yard touchdown scamper early in the third quarter cut the Aggies' deficit to 28-16 and jump-started the eventual rally. He finished the day with 10 first-down rushes, 8.53 average yards per carry, and 5 runs of 11 yards or longer. Tootin was also recognized as the Stats Perform FedEx Ground FCS National Offensive Player of the Week for his performance. So shout out to the Aggies out there in Tootin as he got it done for our Players of the Week. As we get into this break, we'll be back on the other side. And now it's time to get into the rankings. There's been some changes. Some of those teams at the top fall. We'll see if anybody gets in the poll and how much changes. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break, and then we'll get into the second half of the show. And we'll give you some of the games of the week. They start to get even more interesting because they become more important as you close out the season to see what is going to go on. We'll be right back after this break.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I'm ready to get into it. We're going to get into the mid-major poll rankings. Let's get it done. It's week 9. The season has just flown by, man. I'm almost nervous that it's close to being over. It was a tough loss this past weekend that changed the paradigm on the Division II level in the CIAA and maybe even the playoffs. So we'll talk about it and see how that affected the poll rankings. Receiving votes this week, as we see the teams dropping out. Let me do the dropouts first. Kentucky State Thoroughbreds fall to 4-5, 3-3 on the season in terms of the conference race. West Virginia State Yellow Jackets are at 5-4, 4-2, but they also fall out of the poll rankings. Receiving votes are West Virginia State Yellow Jackets at 5-4, 4-2, with 13 points. So let's get in the top 10. Bowie State Bulldogs bounce back as they improved to 5-4, 4-3 in the conference race. They were not ranked. They jumped back into the rankings in week number 9 with 16 points. Also jumping back in the polls is number 9 is Lane Dragons, 5-4, 5-1 in the SIC West race, particularly 17 points. They were not ranked as they do jump back in the poll. Bringing us to number 8, Langston Lions. After a win last week, they have a tough loss. They fall to 6-2, 5-2. So they fall 4 spots in the rankings with 25 points. Still in the top of the race at the conference, but they need some things to go their way outside, particularly maybe to earn that automatic bid to try to get the conference championship. Outside of the at-large in the NAIA, it's going to be very tough to get that. At number 7, you have Virginia State Trojans. They also bounced back with a big victory improving to 6-3, 5-2 on the season. So they move up a spot from last week at 37 points, bringing us to close out bottom 5 with number 6. Fort Valley State Wildcats, 7-2, 4-2, 49 points, moving down from number 3, costing them 3 spots, which many people saw as a major upset as Fort Valley State falls to Savannah State. Bringing us to the top 5. Guess who is in the top 5 this week? Tuskegee Golden Tigers. Y'all talked about this a little bit. They just keep winning, 7-2 and 6-0 as they get it done out of the SIAC, representing that West Division, 61 points. And they move up 2 spots from number 7 last week, bringing us to number 4, Fayetteville State Broncos, 7-2, 6-1, 73 points. They move up 2 spots from 6 last week, getting us a new number 3, Albany State Golden Rams, improved to 7-2 and 5-1. Quiet all season long, but they just kept chugging. They move up 2 spots and are at number 3 at 80 points. Bringing us to number 2, Virginia Union Panthers. They fall from the number 1 spot with the loss to some people would think. Kickoff return, block punt return, and a pick 6 does them in as they lose to Shawan, 8-1, 6-1, 3 first place vote, 87 points. Bringing us to the new number 1, Benedict Tigers, 9-0, 7-0. They just keep riding the wave. They just keep improving, doing first forever in the program. 7 first place votes, 99 points. Moving up from number 2, your new number 1 this week in week number 9 is none other than Benedict Tigers. Mike Washington, what are your thoughts on the mid-major poll this week?
Great poll, first of all, but if Tuskegee and Benedict are pretty much a lock for the SIC championship, should Tuskegee be higher in the polls than number 5? They're on a 5-game.
How much higher you want them to be?
They're on a 5-game winning streak.
You want them to skip over Fayetteville State, skip over Albany State, and a tougher schedule? Come on, man.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yes.
How much AD Drew paying y'all?
Oh, come on. They on a 6. I don't care. AD Drew could be in my back pocket. I don't care. They on a 6-game winning streak. They in the SIAC championship. Give them their love. They should be higher than number 5.
Hey.
That's a C+ in the poll.
Hey, Tuskegee and Benedict locked it up before Halloween.
Exactly. They locked it up early.
Oh, they did lock it up for Halloween. You sure right. Halloween was yesterday. They locked it up. Yeah, man. I guess you got a point. What are your thoughts, Charles?
I'm putting Mike on this.
Doing the trick or treat and stuff. Where your mask at?
Yeah, I know, right? Shout out to Tuskegee, man. They got it done. They got it done. Shout out to both of those teams. Benedict. It's so odd not seeing Virginia Union for the first time all season, not in this number 1 spot. But Benedict and Tuskegee, they both got it done. Both got it locked up, representing their respective division in the SIC title game before Halloween. So this will be, I think, Tuskegee's first championship appearance since 2017 for the past 5 years, where they had to watch Miles go in and kind of, bite, grit and bear it, watching Miles win. But I mean, Tuskegee, this is their chance, man. They've been playing some great football. They've been one of the hotter teams in HBCU football. They deserve to be up in there in that 2 or 3 slot.
All right, tell them just keep winning. They do got Miles. They beat the rival. They might slide up another spot or 2. With that being said, Coach Ruffin, man.
Coach Ruffin.
Years has he been into the SIC? Miles falls out, but he doesn't miss a step. He takes Tuskegee into the championship game. That's amazing. Let's get into the major division and see what's going on there, as things did a change this week. Falling out of the polls this week was South Carolina State Bulldogs with a major upset with a lot of folks. We said Morgan State was strong, but I don't think anybody but maybe some Morgan State Bears, and not all of them were on board. No. Particularly way it got done with the score. South Carolina State Bulldogs fall to Morgan State, so they fall out the cold. 3-5 on the season, 1-1 in the conference race. Everybody thought they locked it up and were headed back to the championship game. Not so fast, people in the MEAC says, but this gets a little interesting for the Dogs. But They went out. They still could have a head-to-head. Maybe some three-team tiebreaker that makes things a little more interesting. But let's get into the top team when we talk about Howard Bison. They're getting votes. 3-5, 2-0. They got 10 first place votes. They're right outside of the top 10. And I said 10 overall, not first place votes. South Carolina State also getting votes at 3-5 with 1-1 and 8 points. Brings the top 10. Delaware State Hornets, they just keep falling. They fall from number 9, 4-4 on the season, 1-2, 21 points. A lot of injuries has done in Delaware State in terms of what they were thinking about this season. We'll see what they can do the rest of the way out. Got some key matchups. At number 9, Hampton Pirates, 4-4. Another team that started out pretty strong and just keep falling as they fall to 1-4, 24 points at number 8, so they fall a spot. Bringing us to number 8, Texas Southern Tigers, 4-4 on the season, 3-2, 28 points were not ranked, and they jump all the way up to 8 based on what they did to a Division II program, but also in terms of what other programs did falling out. Bringing us to number 7, Southern Jaguars. They fall 4 spots as they were blanked again. This is the second shutout. Kudos to Jackson State, but they just wanted to remind everybody that Southern Jaguars could be shut out because Texas Southern did it as well. Guess what? We have that matchup in terms of the two vaunted defense. We'll see how that may turn out. As Southern falls to 5-3, 3-2 on the season, 39 points. As I said, previous rank 3. Bringing us to the last one in the bottom 5 at number 6, the Alabama State Hornets. They actually improve as they win 5-3, 3-2, comeback win over Alabama A&M, the rivals in the Magic City Classic. Hold out the Bulldogs from the end zone as they were trying to tie the game. In the last second, they move up a spot to give you your bottom 5 teams. Let's get into the top 5. North Carolina A&T State Aggies, 5-3, 3-0, had a big game against Campbell. Had to come from behind, but they get it done and put a clamp so far on the Big South in terms of what many thought was the perennial game. They move up from number 6 at 72 points. Bringing us to number 4, Prairie View A&M Panthers move up a spot as well. They had a close one at home, but got it done, 5-3, 4-1 on the season, 88 points, but moving up a spot from number 5. Bringing us to number 3, North Carolina Central Eagles, 6-2. Had to get it done at the end of the game, but they get the victory, 89 points, so they move up a spot. As we see, there's a lot of separation between the number 1 spot and the rest of the teams, even in the top 5. People kind of have some questions, but teams keep winning. They get it done. Much like FAMU. For their homecoming, they bring home the victory, just like Prairie View, 6-2, 4-1. In terms of conference race, 97 points. Staying at number 2, bringing us to Jackson State Tigers. As we said, they defeat their rival in classic fashion, shutting them out, 35-0, 8-0, 5-0. First time in the history going 8-0, 5-0 in the conference race. We've seen that before. 12 first-place votes, all first-place votes, 120 points. Jackson State Tigers remain number 1 for the 9th consecutive week as they just keep rolling and finding ways to get it done, to make statements. They were 5 last week in the FCS poll, so they just continue to look tremendous in all different phases. Can anybody bring down the Jackson State Tigers? We should see the rest of the season. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles. What are your thoughts on Jackson State?
Yeah, first and foremost, let me start off. Shout out to the Texas schools, Prairie View and Texas Southern, fighting it out in the SWAC West. Prairie View, of course, holds the head-to-head. In Prairie View, being where they are within the SWAC West, when we had our predictions at the beginning of the season, this is phenomenal for the Texas schools to be in this position. And you got the teams, we shut out Southern Bowl this upcoming weekend, number 1 versus number 8. With Jackson State and Texas Southern. Texas Southern last year, tremendous showing in the first half against Jackson State, one of the only teams to score 21 points the way they did against Jackson State last year. But I tell you what, Doc, this is Jackson State team this year. They have separated themselves, I think, from the pack. I think I asked this question, Coach Prime, in the media conference on Monday. What we perceived to be two of their toughest opponents this past couple of weeks, Campbell and Southern, with regards to the physicality. And he talked about his offensive line met the physicality of both of those teams. Defensive line met the physicality of both of those teams. And we always say this thing is won in the trenches. Jackson State is getting it done on both sides of the ball, and they really are separating themselves from the pack.
I would have to agree with it. I think it's apparent in the poll with all 12 first place votes. There might be 2, 3, and 4, and 5 in terms of teams behind them, but they surely are looking up. It's only one game at a time. We'll see.
Yeah.
What I see is a team that's on a mission in terms of not quite finishing the business last year. So it'll be interesting to see that. With that being said, Mike, all that talk about Jackson State, what do you think about the rest of the poll ranking?
No, I will concur, and I will tip my hat and say that Jackson State is a machine. Not only you talked about the defense, CV, but the evolutionary maturation of Shedeur Sanders. He continues to impress. You're starting to hear those Heisman whispers as well. So that offense and that defense, I said it at the beginning, they are a team on a mission. Having said that, I know that Southern hates to play any other team named the Tigers. They just hadn't had a good year. They hadn't had a good team. They hadn't had a good year with teams named the Tigers just yet. So, but Texas Southern, I will highlight, has done kind of like they've done in years past. They start out, they lose to Prairie View, but then they get better as the year progresses. And here they are doing it just the same. So, what's my takeaway? It's better to play TSU at the beginning of the season because somewhere all those X factors show up. And so, and I don't know what to say about the MEAC. Howard? We talking about Howard potentially going. We talking about Howard?
Together, we need
come on, they got to get a homecoming first. So, but yes, that is how crazy the MEAC is going to be. You got a couple of key matchups in the next week or so. But nothing wrong with your poll, Doc. The only argument I would, if there's any, is North Carolina Central. They lost to South Carolina State, who just lost to Morgan State, and and Prairie View is probably right on track to be the West champion again. You could argue flip flopping those, but that's petty to me. So I have nothing wrong with your poll, at least for the majors.
Shout out to
you got to give somebody else. Morgan State beating South Carolina State. They lost because you got to remember what North Carolina Central did to Morgan State, where everybody flipped their wig. So that MEAC, as you said, is probably a little different week to week, and just in terms of home teams and homecomings and things of that nature. Some weird things going on. But
we talking Howard. We talking Howard. We talking Howard. Howard in Atlanta, come on. Do they have football fans in Howard?
They gonna get them if they keep winning like this. They gonna bring them back. You should have seen Jay Walker smiling up there. He couldn't believe it himself when he first saw it. Shout out to Jay Walker getting it done. With that being said, let me give some shout outs to folks here. LaShawn Harris, I want to give you some shout outs and say appreciate the good words, kind words. Chuck Hunt always supporting us, Thomas Einstein, Maddox, G-Boom Highly supporting us as he does in the background as well. Kate Johnson, Reginald Johnson, Edward D. Moore, Barrett Williams showed up. Appreciate you, Barrett, getting in here, taking it to the chin. Ricky Burton, but showing up. I like that. Lennon Blow is in here. Chuck Hunt, as I said, Kate Johnson, Ron Alvarez, A.K. Drew, A.D. Drew, I should say. Chad Cooper, Chuck Hunt. Who else we have in here giving us some love and some time? Michael Knox, Brandon King. Appreciate all the shout out to all the love.
To my son.
Chad Cooper. Who is that?
No, shout out to my son, Todd Crenshaw.
You say his name?
Yeah, he's listening tonight. So
here you go. Appreciate you, Todd. David, brother Crenshaw, David Barnett, Reginald Johnson, as I said, William B.J. Levette. I see you all in there. Wendy Jenkins Bishop. Much love. Appreciate Troy Lamont Coleman. Tootin also got Box to Roll. Good job. Thank you for highlighting that. Jocelyn Adams, Brandon King. Who else we have? Anthony Weston. I see he's in the head. Craig Bahan, Christopher White, Silas Edward McMorris, Jawan C. Hill. Appreciate the love, Mr. Hill, Brother Hill. Craig, who else? Just make sure we get some of these in here. Kevin Crawford in the house. Karen Griffin, making sure they show us love. With that, this is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right back with segment 3, where we get into the mid-major games of the week. We're getting close to those championship games as you close out the season for the CIAA and SIAC. And we got some independent matchups that should be as interesting as well, including a classic. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock
in downtown Atlanta.
For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992
or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com.
For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant.
Authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Let's get into some of these key matchups of the week. We're getting into our mid-major. We'll sneak in one major division game to give you an extra game as things are really starting to get interesting. But we're going to start with that HBCU Classic mid-major division game of the week, which will take you to the state of Georgia. It's a top 10 matchup, Columbus, Georgia, that is, A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium, the Fountain City Classic. That's Saturday, November the 5th, 1 o'clock p.m. Central. Number 3, Albany State Golden Rams, 7-2, 5-1 on the season, versus number 7, Fort Valley State Wildcats, that are also 7-2 overall, but 4-2 in the conference. Obviously, Benedict has pretty much wrapped this up. They have to close out in terms of their final game to make sure they hold on. But this has playoff implications, if not anything else, in terms of what it looks like. And you just have bragging rights in the state of Georgia. That's enough, as Mike and his family would know. With that being said, let me go to you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of this classic matchup that ends the regular season between Fort Valley State and Albany State?
You said it. Yeah, you got playoff implications for sure. But most of it, man, this is a classic. This is family. You can kind of sometimes you can kind of throw the statistics out the window. I think Fort Valley leads the series. It's like 43 or 44 to 39 or something. It's fairly in, but Albany State has the current win streak at 3 or 4. So you got what, number 3, number 4 in the division, in the SIC East. Number 2 or 3, I'm sorry. And so this takes on more than a rivalry. So you got playoff implications, you got family rivalry, you got all kinds of tailgating, catfish, Georgia style, low country boils happening. And of course you got the rivalry on the field in Columbus. So this will be a big game. Make no bones about it. So I don't know who you call in your prediction, but this is one heck of a classic. So I'm gonna give Albany State the edge just because their offense has been churning a little bit more during the season. But this is a toss up. This is anybody's game.
Good points. Good points. Let me go to you, Charles Bishop. Number 3 versus 7, Rams and Wildcats. Where you going in this?
Yeah, this is a tough one to call. Both teams have been playing some lights out football. If not for Benedict, to me, Albany would have been the class of the SIC East. But Fort Valley, they've been playing some great ball during the course of the season. I tend to go with you on this, Mike, because I think Albany has enough defense to kind of slow down Fort Valley as well. I'm looking for Albany to take this one. That they've been, the bellwether in the series for a little while now. I don't expect that to change. So I'm expecting Albany to get this W.
Let's go in this direction. We're going to go to the HBCU Independent Mid-Major Division game of the week. It takes us to Arizona. That's Glendale, Arizona. Saturday is the showdown at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and that's in the Sooner Athletic Conference, known otherwise for those NAIA programs, home to Langston at number 8 in the HBCU mid-major poll ranking. They come in at 6-2, 5-2. They had Arizona Christian Firestorm 6-2, 5-2. Both teams are just a game out in terms of the loser place of the first place team. So this has a lot of implications, at least in terms of conference standings. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on in this matchup. Didn't go well for Langston last year. But with that being the case, I'm going to go back to you and stick with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of this independent mid-major division game of the week?
Yeah, two teams very similar when you take a look at the tail of the tape in this one. Arizona Christian, they are, I believe, first in scoring in the Sooner Athletic Conference, 43.7 points per game. Langston right behind them at 41.7. Langston's defense is second in defense in the Sooner Athletic Conference. Arizona Christian right behind them at third. But then you take a look at the intangibles. It's the quarterbacks. Tyler Duncan for Arizona Christian. He's second in the conference in passing. Larry Harrington is fourth. So to me, it comes down to which quarterback is able to make some plays. Interesting enough, with regards to Arizona Christian, they have the number 1 receiver in the conference. He's averaging 9 catches per game. So the question is, can Langston's defense hold down at Arizona Christian passing game? We've seen some chinks in the armor with regards to Langston on the road this season. So that makes it tough for me to go with Langston on this one. I think this one is a homecoming game for Arizona Christian. I'm looking for Arizona Christian to get the W.
Good point. Good point. Let's go to some mid-major. Don't have a mid-major classic game of the week, but you got an interesting week. All eyes on Texas in a lot of ways, especially Friday and Saturday. But things start out Thursday, if you would, in regards to ESPNU game with Alabama A&M and Mississippi State. We're not going to talk about that, but I just wanted to highlight the number of games on television. And then you go to this Friday Night Lights in the SWAC, if you would.
Yes,
state of Texas, you've heard about Friday Night Lights. And if you want to go further enough back, you can go to PVIL and you talk about Thursday Night Lights with the segregated high school to kind of give you that intrigued update with the Thursday game on ESPNU. Just weird how history repeats itself. But big matchup with number 4. Prairie View A&M in Prairie View, Texas. They host Alcorn, their nemesis. They hadn't been able to get over that Alcorn hump the last couple of years. This year, it means a lot. Panther Stadium at Blackshear Field, SWAC Western Division. They can go a long way to lock things up and really make it close this Friday, 6 o'clock, ESPNU, Alcorn State Braves, 3-5, 2-3. At number 4, Prairie View A&M Panthers, 5-3, 4-1. I think some people will be running the ball, but I'll go to you. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
Man, I think you got two teams who like to rush the ball. For Prairie View, you got that trifecta attack of Jaden Stewart, Trayvon Conley, Ahmad Antoine that has dominated the games that they've won. But you got Javion Howard from Alcorn State leading the SWAC in rushing at 116 yards. But if you take the 3 from the Prairie View, you've got over 200 yards of rushing per game alone. So I take you know, that's one data point. And then you got to look at offense. Overall offense, Prairie View's averaging 31 points a game. And then you look at Alcorn, they're averaging, you know, a little over 21 points a game. So all chips are on the line. Alcorn's got to travel. Defense, both teams are middle of the line. So I think it's whose team can enforce their will. I think Prairie View has the better running attack. Alcorn has a seemingly better passing attack, considering that I believe that they're somewhere around number 7 in the SWAC in passing. But you know, Prairie View is also 3rd against the SWAC in passing. So, which team can really dominate? If Prairie View can continue their dominance with their running attack with those 3 individuals, I think they have a good chance to move through and to move past Alcorn. But like you said, history has been in favor of Alcorn. This has been a thorn in the side of Alcorn, of Prairie View. So I'm urging all PD fans, come out, cheer, bring your black and old royal purple or gold, whatever, come out and cheer. But I think it hinges, can Prairie View maintain its efficiency on the running attack? And can that defensive front of Prairie View stop the Alcorn running attack, particularly the running back from Alcorn State?
Go to you, Charles. 3 straight losses for the Braves. I'm not sure when we would have thought that would happen, but it has. Are they able to get back on the right side of things and make the West more interesting than might some people think it should be based on what's going on? Let me know, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
No, they can't. Too much on the line for Prairie View in this game. 3 straight losses. The wheels, I think, will come off a little bit for Alcorn coming into this game. But this is one of those games, hide the women and children, 8 in the box, 9 across the line. This is going to be a 3-yard fight right in the middle of the tackles. And then you got to spy Conley. You got to spy Austin Allen. To me, this game hinges on who can get some deep balls, who can get some one-on-ones and get some balls downfield. That's going to be huge in this game. And can you get some PIs to set you up with some favorable field position? So that's going to be something I'm going to kind of take a look at in this game. But it's too much on the line for Prairie View. They control their own destiny. I expect for the Panthers to get the win Friday.
Well, we're going to go to another independent major division game of the week on the major level. We have number 5 hosting Norfolk State, Greensboro, North Carolina, Truist Stadium. This is 11 o'clock Central Time kickoff on ESPN Plus. You got Norfolk State Spartans 1-7, 1-2. At number 5, North Carolina A&T State Aggies that are 5-3 and 3-0 in the Big South race. 1-2 is what the Norfolk State Spartans are in the MEAC. A&T is 1-1 against the MEAC. Will they have a winning record, or will Norfolk State make a statement for the MEAC? Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of what goes on here?
No, as topsy-turvy as the MEAC has been, Norfolk State has been a consistent turvy. So I do not expect for them to challenge A&T in this one. I expect for the Aggies to get this one big. This is going to be a statement game for the Aggies in terms of putting their foot on the neck of the Spartans.
I'm going to come back on the other side, Mike, and get your thoughts on that as we take this break and come back and add in a couple of more matchups. And we'll take this quick break. We'll be right back on the other side.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. As we jumped off, Charles just gave us an update on that Alcorn Prairie game in terms of what that looks like, as well as Mike. Mike, come back in here and give us some updates and your thoughts on this Greensboro, North Carolina game with number 5, North Carolina A&T. Spartans and Aggies, as I told you, it's 1-1 for the Aggies versus the MEAC. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Who's going to get the edge moving forward?
Oh, it'll be Aggies all the way on this one. The Aggies are playing well. Spartans are 1-7. I think they're averaging 14, 15 points a game, but allowing 30 plus points for their opponents. And then you look at the other side of the coin, what North Carolina A&T is doing. I think it'll be a convincing victory for the Aggies.
I want to give a little bonus game here. Going to the MEAC bonus game. Durham, North Carolina is homecoming. Old Kelly Riddick Stadium.
Woo! That's the one. That's the one.
ESPN.
That's the one.
Receiving votes, Howard Bison, 3-2, 2-0. That's Howard. At number 3, North Carolina Central Eagles, 6-2, 2-1.
That one.
Charles, what are your thoughts in this matchup, man? Who's going to be able to get it done? Will Central get off the mat, or will Howard show that it's for real?
I think Howard will attempt to show that it's for real, but I think the Eagles are going to fly at home. They are going to be – the Fighting Joshua Sims are going to be ready in this game. I think Davis Richard is a little bit too much for the Howard defense, although I love this matchup with Davis Richard and Quentin Williams, two of the better quarterbacks in the MEAC. But I just think the Central defense is going to come to rise to the occasion this weekend and keep Howard out of the end zone enough time to get this W.
Mike, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup here?
I'm right with him. I think the Eagles will fly at home.
Yeah,
you got Howard coming. You got Howard coming to our homecoming. Are you kidding me? No, I think the Eagles will fly at this one. Quentin Williams is having a great year, but I see the Eagles rolling in this one.
Oh, that's cool. That's good in terms of where you're going in that direction. Let me get another bonus out here. As I teased out earlier, we talked about the Friday night lights in the SWAC. As I said, it starts with Thursday. This is an interesting matchup to me. Alabama A&M, short week after a major upset in terms of A&M Bulldogs. They were tuning to try to stay in the race the least, see if they could make that game against Jackson State before the East Division. That's not likely now with 2 losses in the East Division, if you would, for the SWAC. But they go on the road to Mississippi Valley State. That was off last week. 0-8. Is this a chance for Valley to get that victory, or will the Bulldogs find a way to get it done? Bonus action for you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup here?
You really asking me this question? You really?
Yeah, I couldn't ask you that. I mean, you talked a little bit earlier about how much bad luck Southern was having against the Tigers. I thought I would say then one problem they still got Grambling State Tigers on the calendar, so it might not be over for Southern against the Tigers. But we're talking about this week. Can you give me something on the Bulldogs versus the Delta Devils? The same Delta Devils that you do like Howard now.
I'm sorry, Bulldogs will reign. I don't care if they in Huntsville or Idabina or Gulfport or Atlanta. I don't care. In this game, Mississippi Valley, 0-5, 0-8, 0-1,000,000. I'm sorry. Last in every statistic. I'm sorry. Bulldogs, I don't care how much you tell me how difficult it is to go to Idabina, Mississippi. The Bulldogs will go to Idabina, Mississippi and reign supreme in this game. I don't even have to bring out the data points.
Charles?
Beware of the Ides of November. Because this same Mississippi Valley team that we forget about, they always sneak in a November surprise, just like midterm somewhere. There's always a November surprise. And Mike, do I need to remind you of the November surprise last year?
Yes, I know.
I'm just saying.
That was a much better defense, but yes, you're right. The odds of November, but they had 2 or 3 wins last year at this time. They ain't got nan. Man wins. So,
Mike, I'm calling upset. I got the Delta Devils this week.
You got the Delta. We'll take the Delta Devils. I'm gonna roll with the Bulldogs this week. In Idabina. And somebody just put in the text line, that's the Joshua Sims stuff. 1801 Fayetteville Street. Well, okay, he done started a little trend. Go ahead, Joshua. 1801 Fayetteville Street. Whatever. Everybody gonna throw their address in the line now.
So you know everybody gotta find a way to get in here. But that'll do it for us. Let's bring it to the close before I get these guys get in trouble and I have to shut off their mic. Thank you for listening to Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, Cavil, Dean of HBCU Sports, comes Inside the Lab, College HBCU Sports with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop. As I do that, Mike, any last shout outs that you wanted to say as we close up?
Yeah, shout out to 1876 Sports and Culture this past Saturday. Had a live broadcast at the Prairie View homecoming against Pine Bluff. Great. Had a chance to tribute to Brigadier General Tony Antoinette Gant, Leonard Gant, one of the first Black female generals from Prairie View A&M, one of the first Black females to command the engineering corps of the South Pacific. I didn't say the swimming pool. I didn't say Lake Houston. I didn't say Lake Ray Hubbard. I said the South Pacific. So commanding such a division, I don't care what HBCU you come from. She was in my cadet class. Hats off to Brigadier General, Colonel, I'm sorry, I keep saying Colonel. That was a firm one. Brigadier General Antoinette Gant from Prairie View A&M. Kudos to 1876 Sports and Culture, and also to 1876 Foundation dedicated to raising funds for athletes, for specifically Prairie View's athletic facilities. All had major kickoffs this past weekend. Hats off.
Good points. Charles, did you have any final shout outs that you wanted to give?
Yeah, I just wanted to express my condolences again to the family of Eric Moore. Again, a giant within this sports information media sort of environment. I definitely wanted to just wish my condolences again to them. Shout out to the pregame show. Of course, we'll come to you live on Wednesday as we preview Texas Southern and review the Southern game. And then LaShawn Harris, want to say thank you for speaking to me there in the hotel. She mentioned that she enjoys this show. I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you so very much for tuning in to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
That'll do it for us. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Vill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock right here. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Dismiss.